Are we gonna get to year 3000 like the Jonas Brothers said?
Exactly. That's why I'm so sensual about it.
Sexy.
You know how much heat I'm gonna catch for this? That's a wild question.
What was it like going to prom with Jaden Smith?
Ah!
Yeah, that's why you my girl. I really do fuck with you. What conspiracy theories do you buy into the most?
Oh my gosh. I think there are some celebrities that might be alive somewhere.
Now, Sharon, no.
Not Tupac.
You do not believe in the faking death celebrity gag. What would be the reason, Sharon?
I don't know. I don't believe Tupac. I think he was so outspoken. You wouldn't be able to keep him on the island. He'd have a lot of shit to say, trust me.
So who do you think is still alive, girl?
I don't know. I think like some of the older artists from like maybe the 60s or whatever, they're not alive. But I think some of them, like Jimmy Hoffa. I don't know if he
Who
really...
is Jimmy Hoffa?
He was the... You don't know who that is?
Girl, I don't know that man.
Okay, well, there's a movie on it that Jack Nicholson played.
So give me a little tea of it.
Well, I mean, he was like a teamster and...
Okay.
And he was very powerful and he disappeared.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, he was like getting all the unions and stuff together and, he was just creating a problem, for people. And the rumor is that he was buried in this new parking lot somewhere, So they're like, oh, that's where Jimmy Hoffa is buried, in this parking lot.
They tried to. So just so everybody know, Teamsters are the people that like put the trucks up on like, on. They do a lot of different things, but they're the Teamsters of a set. So they drive some of the cars, drive some of the actors to and from set. They drive some of the trailers. They handle a lot of just like the heavy lifting on a set.
And that's on a movie set. But I think Jimmy Hoffa was more. Yeah, I think it was drivers. I don't know all what he was involved in. All I can say is, and there's a movie, if anybody wants to watch the movie, with Jack Nicholson. He was a very powerful man. He was organizing a lot of unions and he was causing a lot of problems. Exactly. Causing a lot of problems for companies and things of that nature. And the rumor is they killed him and buried him in a parking lot.
So wait a minute, Sharon. Is he alive or not?
I don't know.
You said you believe that.
I think he could be alive.
So you
they never found a body. I think he could have. Someone could have gotten to him and said, "You disappear right now, or we're gonna kill you," and then he disappeared. I think that could be possible.
Sharon, I think that man dead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, girl.
Well, you have to see the movie.
I don't know if I believe that, like, the conspiracy of people, like, I just don't know why anybody would fake their death. I would need a really good reason for somebody to fake their death.
Because somebody would harm their family. If they went to that man and said, "We're going to kill your family if you don't disappear," I could see that very well happening. You don't believe that?
I mean...
I'm not saying that happened in the case of him.
I feel like people fake their deaths? Possibly. But it just seems so...
Insurance fraud. There's a lot of people that fake their death for the insurance.
You're into the conspiracies. I love to see this.
I watch a lot of forensics file. I watch a lot of IDTV.
I think it also seems really hard to fake your death. You know
it's
what I mean?
Very
so
difficult.
That's what I'm like, oh.
It's very difficult to fake your death and get the insurance. But there have been many people who was in conspiracy theories with their wives or girlfriends or whatever, and they killed them. They supposedly died, and then the girlfriend collects the money and meets them in some island somewhere. Yeah, that happens.
Wow. Yeah, conspiracy theories. Do I have any that I really like or that I believe in? Oh, I like to talk about them, but I'm a person. I'm just too Virgo.
I know
I'm too
you and your
logical.
dad believe in aliens.
That's not a conspiracy. That is true. You have to know that there are aliens, even if they're like little amoebas.
What's the proof of that? Why do you believe that?
God in us. You think we're the only creatures on the entire planet? Sharon.
I mean, but aliens...
Alien just means an organism that's living on another planet.
Okay.
Obviously, there's organisms that live on other planets. They've got to be.
Right. Okay. Well, I know he believes, like, when people say they see spaceships in the desert in Arizona.
I believe that, Mom. I believe that. You gotta know that it's true. I do believe that. I think that's
Independence. So Independence Day could really happen. The movie.
I think that they're a lot less crazy as people make them think. I don't know if they're like ready to like blow us up kind of vibe. I'm not totally sure about that. They could be living amongst us, being chill. There could be, doesn't necessarily mean that like they're gonna come and be like, we're wrecking your planet. I think that is actually conspiracy created about aliens so that we don't actually feel comfortable with them.
Okay, all right.
Conspiracy theories that you don't believe in, that you think are just complete crock of
aliens.
Pooyah.
I do not believe.
Mom, really? Why? What makes you think
I don't know. I just, I guess I'm one of those people you got to show me. So I'm gonna have to see. Oh,
but you believe Jimmy Hoffa somewhere cooling on an island with a champagne drink?
Well, I just believe they never found his body, so he could have escaped and went somewhere and hid out. But
the one that I have a problem with, or not even a problem with, but I just think I think that there's it's mixed two truths and a lie kind of thing. Is like the whole Illuminati and rituals gag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's always, and this is the thing.
Right.
It's always a black person that is doing the Illuminati. Like, why whenever that we become successful, it's because we sold our left arm and our cat to the next man down the street. That's so ridiculous.
Yeah, why is that?
No one ever says, well, you know how Leonardo got put on, don't you?
Illuminati.
No one says that. No one says Renee Zellweger. Sacrifice. No one says that. But whenever it's like any,
a black
celebrity, it's like,
it has to be some type of hocus pocus.
Yeah, like, I'm trying to figure out, hey, if we got that kind of power, I think there's a lot of more things that we could get done.
Yeah, how about it's with that? Hard work.
Yeah, so the Illuminati. Now, do I believe that there's some, little Stanley Kubrick situations going on? Absolutely.
Explain that. What is that?
So, like Eyes Wide Shut. Oh. Do I believe that people are having like interesting sex parties and using them to close business deals? Sure. I just think there's levels to it. And maybe I'm too naive, right? But I just feel like they're definitely, hedonistic or sketchy things that you can be a part of. I just feel like it's interesting that it's all zeroed in on a certain aspect of the entertainment industry. When I think that people do a lot of stuff in every business, in every industry, and everybody, it's like this. I put it like this. If you work in an office and one of the people are doing some crazy stuff to get ahead, that doesn't mean you are.
That's right.
So I feel like people look at the industry, the entertainment industry, and they assume everyone is up to things. And there's always something sketchy coming on, and everybody's on a casting couch. And somebody always did. And I just think that's not a realistic viewpoint.
No, it's not. It's not.
Every industry has, what someone would consider crazy stuff going on.
Right.
But everybody does not partake in it.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like to assume that everyone's success was gained through
nefarious
stuff or unethical things. I think that's just not
and it also lessens that person as well. You know what I mean? It just makes them, they couldn't possibly be doing all the things they're doing if it wasn't for some sinister thing. And the danger, and that's to me, that's jealousy. And it's people that they don't believe in that hard work pays off. Hard work does pay off.
Well, see, that's the danger in it to me, is the key word that you just said, is it makes people believe that they will never reach a certain success unless they're doing nefarious things.
Right.
And I think that's so unfair to people because, you can get ahead in life and be a good person. Right. I think that's the problem that I have the most with that conspiracy theory. I'm not saying that people don't do crazy things to be successful, because they do.
Right.
But I want people to know that there are also people that do good things to be successful, and you can be one of them.
And there's also people that do crazy, messed up shit, and they get nowhere.
And there's also people that do crazy stuff, and you think they got somewhere, but everything in the dark always comes to the light. So I just feel like I think the problem that I have with that conspiracy is that there's not a lot of spirituality or good karma in there. It's always like evil wins.
Right.
And I just don't believe that. I don't believe
Right.
that being evil or doing negative stuff or doing hurtful things. Look, I'm not saying you can't get your freak on. Get your freak on if you into getting your freak on. Hey, as long
Right.
as you ain't hurt nobody, have your fun with that. I'm not judging anybody, but I just think when there's an idea that, doing hurtful things to people is what breeds success solely, then it makes it seem like you can't get success any other way. It's like kind of like this idea that, success is synonymous with being a bad person.
Exactly.
Or that faith is not stronger than dark. Like light is not stronger than dark. Love is stronger than all that. I don't care what kind of voodoo, hoodoo, voodoo, loodoo you think you gonna do to me as I stand before thee. You know what I mean?
Get behind me.
Get behind me. You know what I mean? So I just feel like that's what I hate about that one is because it just says that good isn't stronger than evil. Yeah. And I don't believe that.
Yeah, no, I don't like that conspiracy, the Illuminati and all that stuff. I don't even, pay that stuff much attention. But it makes me sad, though, when someone has worked hard and they come up and you see them and they're on magazine covers and stuff like that. We should be celebrating that. Mm-hmm. It should be, wow, this person really has worked hard versus what did they do to get there? Mm-hmm. Like, let's stop being so negative all the damn time,
I think it's because life is hard and a lot of people feel like, man, a lot of it I think sometimes is impatience, right? Because it's like, dang, I'm still not where I'm supposed to be and I've spent all this time and all these years. There must be a reason and it must be something that is negative or it must be something that's holding me back particularly so now I'm going to tell myself that the reason why I'm not where I'm at is because I'm better than those people. Right. You get what I mean? I'm not being, I think sometimes it's hard, but look, it's hard for everybody. Right. You know what I mean? The industry, a lot of this stuff industry is hard.
Yeah, and a lot of this stuff is timing. You know what I mean? So it's timing. It's stay on the road, stay focused, stay positive. I mean,
look at Morgan Freeman. Yeah. I found out that Morgan Freeman was acting in his youth. How come I didn't meet him till he was 70?
Now, I knew Morgan Freeman
Somebody would have gave
It's
up.
Electric Company. It was like a show on PBS. So I grew up with Morgan Freeman on PBS. So I knew who he was from PBS.
But you get what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Morgan Freeman.
He stayed on the road.
I didn't meet him until he was an elder, really, to be honest with
That's
you.
right.
But he been acting. He's been doing his thing.
Yeah, he was on TV.
So it's just like, sometimes stuff takes a long time.
Yeah, it does.
Sometimes it does. You know what I mean? But never shake, never falter. What do they say?
Yeah, stay on the road. Never falter and just stay focused,
I love a good conspiracy. And I love that we get to catch up. Let's do it again sometime.
Awesome.
Baby, this is Keke. Okay, my guest today is a definition of a person who can do it all. She's a producer, a musician, an actor, an activist. I mean, save some talents for the rest of us. I mean, come on. Just kidding, because I am obsessed with her. We need her to keep doing what she's doing, so please welcome to the show today, Amandla Stenberg.
Hey! I'm so honored to be here. I can't express that enough.
Dude, I'm so honored to have you because I really just live for you. I remember, I don't know what party I just seen you at like a little bit ago. It was like something.
Girl, we were at the Beyonce concert.
Bam. Girl, and I came up to you and I said, girl, it's you for me day in and day out. Because you know what? So first of all, I've obviously seen you, I think the first time I saw you was Hunger Games, in terms of as a performer. Mm-hmm. And then I seen you again most recently in Bodies. And I just really loved your performance so much in that. And obviously I know you as a social media personality and it's kind of like really poignant things that you say. But what I really loved, I just really loved the way that you were. It was so real and so natural, but also the satire elements of what the movie was about. You played into in a really well way. It was just a really nuanced performance. So I was like, she's now literally my fave, and I had to have you on the podcast. So I'm glad that you're here.
Thank you so much.
And you're a Scorpio, which is
I am.
Which is interesting. I need to know your rising and your moon.
My rising is also Scorpio, double Scorp.
Double Scorp.
And then my moon is Sagittarius.
That's why you're so sexy.
Exactly. That's why I'm so sensual, darling.
Sexy.
That's why I'm so gobsmacking sensual.
Okay, yes. Okay, so
I
double
took that
Scorpio, and
too
then your
far.
what's your other one?
Oh, my Sagittarius moon is my moon.
And that's our connect because I'm a Sag moon.
Oh,
Virgo
really?
a sun, Cancer rising, and Sag moon. So the Sag moon is like, I think it's the part of me that is why I'm so like, got crazy energy because Virgos aren't generally really like high energy like that. But Sagittarius are, and think that's the like when people see that energy in me, that's that Sag energy. So I mean, I feel like you have like I feel like you can get hype with it too.
Yeah.
Every now and then. I don't know.
Maybe that explains a lot. That might explain a lot.
So now, Amandla, I have a fun topic for you today because I feel like you're someone who just gets this. You're ready to get weird and eccentric. And I saw an interview that you did where you mentioned you were an end of the world prepper.
Oh,
okay?
Yeah.
And with the world acting the way it is acting, I mean, I'd say that this is a very timely topic. Seems morbid, but I feel like we'd have some fun with this. So to kick it off, I'm going to ask you, if you had to put money on it, how do you think that the world would end?
Whew.
Like, what would be the reason? Lord. Like, would it be like aliens? Would it be like World War X? Would it be like, what would it be?
I mean, maybe all of the above. You know, I feel like there's this idea that there's going to be one singular point that's going to be the end of the world, but it's going to be a gradual decrease, and it's going to be by our own hands. And I feel like people always act like there's going to be some sort of like external event or one point in time where there's some sort of large catastrophe and that wipes us all out. But we're already dealing with the consequences of our actions. And when I say that I'm a prepper, which is, I can't believe I'm self-identifying as a prepper now. But when I say that I'm a prepper, people kind of act like I'm really nihilistic or that I don't have any faith in humanity. And that's the opposite of the truth. I actually do have faith in humanity. I love humanity. I want to protect humanity.
Preserve it.
Yeah. And so that's why I feel like I'm trying to make steps in my life for that eventuality. And I just think it's the reality of the situation. I'm curious about the future of AI, but I'm not the kind of person who's like, AI is going to take over. I'm kind of more like private corporations are going to manipulate the public utilizing AI and then disenfranchise them further.
First of all, yes to everything that you said. And I love how you put that when it comes to the end of the world prepper concept, because I think you actually just really like helped that, those self-identified people, because yes, in actuality, if you are prepping, you are preserving, you're trying to figure out how to sustain and how to maintain. So I do love that. And also, it's always the way things are used. It's never the thing itself. And it's just the same thing with internet, right? The internet is an incredible useful tool, but everybody's not using it well. So it's not so much the thing, but it's how people use the thing to disenfranchise others. It's so true.
Exactly.
But it's funny. I like the like, it's giving me I Am Legend, the way that this is going and the way that this is ending. Because I think it's in the beginning of I Am Legend where he's like, first it was or maybe it's another dystopian movie, but it's like, first it was the zombies.
Right.
Then it was the bomb.
Right.
Next thing you know, we all starved.
Right.
And then there was only 10 left. Like, that
then
was
he had
literally
to kill
the
that
vibe.
poor dog. You know that, like, that's how they effectively made white people really afraid during that movie, was that they killed the dog. You know what I mean?
Animal cruelty is the one thing I won't allow.
Animal cruelty.
That's the one thing.
What gets them?
Now, how much time do you think we have? Because I don't know, I go back and forth. Like, sometimes I'm like, yo, because I don't want to sound like I'm morbid, but sometimes I'm like, if it was tomorrow, cool. You know what I mean? But then at the same time, then I'm like, because if we got about 1,000 more years, then it's like, damn, how bad is it going to be?
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, are we going to get to year 3,000 like the Jonas Brothers said?
Well, I mean, science, all the scientific projections of what's going to happen, with our sea levels and with flood maps, those are all dependent on what happens now or within the next, 5 years. I think we've already passed the first kind of due date, I guess, that like world leaders had decided upon. This is when we need to stop natural gas.
What was the time? What did we do good? Or
We
didn't
didn't do good, girl. We didn't do good. So now it's like all the projections are kind of theoretical, dependent on how we act now. And since we aren't really acting now, man, this is getting dark.
It's getting dark, but you got, like you said at the top, we got to be truthful.
You know what? I appreciate you asking me about this. Yeah. So I think what's going to really impact people first off is temperature. It's gonna be a lot hotter in certain areas, cooler in other areas. Those cooler areas are gonna be privatized, and those hotter areas are just
now. What does that mean? Privatized? Are we thinking about In Time with Justin Timberlake?
Wait, what do you mean?
I hate that all your references come from literature, and all mine's come from some movie I saw in pop culture. But so In Time is a movie about Justin Timberlake not having enough time, and certain areas were like privatized where people had more time. Like your ability to live and stay in this world. You remember New York was like everybody in motherfucking New York had hella time.
Right, on the wrist, right? They had like a clock on the wrist and it was green.
Exactly.
I remember this movie.
So everybody was trying to like buy more time.
Right.
It was kind of like it was like, now y'all really could have did something with this, but it went a little left. But it was still good to me because I liked the metaphor of what they were talking about.
Right.
But it spoke to what you're talking about, which is there's always a place for the people with money type gag.
Right. 100%.
So
I mean, we even see that, within the internet, the exacerbation of the class system and the complete disappearance of the middle class. And it's like the internet kind of forces us into these algorithms that further perpetuates that class system. And so all those resources are just going to continue being snatched up. I had the opportunity to narrate this audiobook, and it's called Sex, Race, and Robots. And it's by a physicist, and she's basically and she's also a researcher, and she works with robots, and she's talking about how AI algorithms learn through us, right? Like every time we do a CAPTCHA or the way that we scroll on our different algorithms and different social media platforms teaches AI what our interests are, what we're like. And there's lots of machine learning algorithms, and since all of those algorithms learn from us, it means that they also digest our biases and prejudices.
Our biases, yeah.
Yeah. And that is what's so dangerous. It's like,
because then they use those same biases against us as they continue to upgrade and evolve the algorithm or the AI or whatever the thing is.
Yeah, I learned so much from this audiobook. And it was trippy because, I mean, I had read through it beforehand, but I was, reading it live.
Yeah, right.
While
I
was narrating
it sink in. Yeah.
So like sometimes I would say something and I would be like, oh shit, but I'd have to keep reading.
I know exactly what you mean. Did it have, I mean, I also want to I'm going to have to look it up in here for myself. But right now I'm curious, did they give any, like, was there any type of resolution? Was there any type of or was it kind of like, this is humanity and this is the way it is, and this is kind of like, it's an individual decision or responsibility that you take?
It was kind of like, we need to have self-control when it comes to our internet usage. We need to think about the things that we click on, think about the things that we engage in, and think about how there actually is a ripple effect of what we click on, what we look at. And by being cautious about where we put our attention, where we invest our time and our energy, which, we're investing a lot of time and energy when we give something our attention online. By being aware of that, we can try to combat these echo chambers, these kind of, echo chambers of thought that are impacting so many of the politics of the world.
And oh my gosh, I'm glad you said politics, because when you talk about echo chambers, I literally just thinking about how sometimes, and I'm wondering how you think about how we balance this, because the beautiful thing with social media is also like that people that are in echo chambers of perfection have the opportunity to see what's happening in other people's worlds. You know, the kind of things that people are struggling with, like you're talking about racism, classism, sexism, all these things that are also big burdens that, hey, if you want to choose to ignore it, you actually can. Well, on the internet, it sometimes can find its way to you. Having said that, it also can put you in an echo chamber of despair.
Yeah.
Because what can I actually do?
Yeah.
You know, how can I actually activate?
Yeah.
You know, just because I posted something and said something, does that really change anything? Like, just because I said, hey, don't do that, or yo, X, Y, and Z, or I changed my picture to black, are Black lives really mattering now? You know what I mean? It really, sometimes I saw, and you're Gen Z, right?
Well, yes, I think I am. I think I just made it.
I'm so curious. I love to hear the perspective. Like, you know, and obviously millennial, Gen Z, so many of us are so close. It's like Gen Z is 2000 and millennials 99. It's like, okay, we're the same damn person. But I'm curious because of your approach, right? Because we have some people that's like, yo, no, internet activism and like, you know, making sure that people speak out online, X, Y, that does do something. Does it, or is it meant to just activate us in the real world? Like, I mean, where do you fall when it comes to that, and how you decide to exist in that framework?
Whew, I mean, I've had a journey with that.
I know, me too, girl.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's so funny that you mentioned the black square thing, because that was something that utterly confounded me when it happened. When we were at the height of the BLM protests and my feed was being flooded with black squares, I was like, this is the opposite of accountability. This is the opposite of education. This is just a cop-out.
Like, how's that stopping anything? How's this helping us? How's this? I mean, look, I'm here for it, right? But like, I just want to know what is the activation?
Right.
Like what is the actual movement? I just don't get how me saying hashtag yo 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 is gonna stop people from using yo-yos. Like, why would that do that?
That's my favorite cause. Hashtag yo yo yo.
Because we done with yo-yos. They don't do nothing but hit people in the head.
Yeah, get yo ass out here. Yeah, no. Also, the reason why that really confused me was because I personally feel like I'm never going to negate the power of social media. You know, when people continually post about Black Lives Matter or the Gaza Strip, then it brings attention over to those things. And people who maybe were not educated on it previously get access to information, you know. Or that's a really great way to organize. I think it's incredible the way that these social media platforms can be utilized to figure out where to protest or what actions to attend, you know. The reason why when like something like the Black Square trend happens absolutely dumbfounds me is because then it actually blocks people from accessing that kind of information, you know. And sometimes I'm like,
yes,
I don't mean to be a conspiracy theorist, but I am a prepper, so you should have seen it coming. I'm like, who planted that idea? You know, in the middle of a moment where people need to organize and connect, whose idea was it? Like, trying to think critically about it. Whose idea was it really to flood everybody's feed with a black screen? You know,
and that solves the problem.
I'm suspicious of those kinds of things all the time.
Yeah, because it just sounds like a quick way to pacify people that feel at fault. Like you said, it's a way to lack accountability, but to say, I'm doing my part. And I agree with you. We went on a tailspin there, but it was just so interesting, everything you were saying, in the internet and the X, Y, and Z, and how we just end up getting wrapped up in a fake world instead of the real world, because that's other things, that the internet is actually one version of the world. And when you step outside your door, that's the world that you got to get more activated in. And the fact that we're not activated in that brings us back to the top point where we're talking about it in the conversation, which is there are actual things that we can make a change on, but instead we're online and we're thinking about things that there's nothing actively that I can really even do to change this one particular problem. So how do you check back in the real world personally? Like, when you find yourself in the zeitgeist, you know, how do you, because as a prepper, you prepper for a lot. How do you get your feet back on the ground of what you can do today?
You know, for me, the only thing that I can continually count on and know is real is community and loved ones. And if I'm not impacting the people around me the best that I can and being the most loving I can be towards them, then how am I going to have any concept of how to help people that are not physically around me or a part of a different community, you know? Um, and I'm really grateful because I have a really extensive queer community and I have many people that I love so deeply around me who share a lot of the same values as me. And I can commune with them and we can grieve about the state of the world and we can also decide what we want to do together collectively to organize, you know, whether it's like in a moment like this, if it's going to our local protests or, you know, if it's actually having a moment of self-care. I feel like it always comes back to community.
And I know it seems extremely cliche. And look, you know, unless you're somebody that's into the vibrations and the energy like myself, maybe it's totally invalid to you. But I really do believe in the concept of community and the concept of love really being a great power. I truly do believe that. I think that's actually why the world struggles so much. It's the lack of community and the lack of love and energy and strength and just power that you get from knowing that you have support and encouragement and people that are like-minded that believe in the same things you do. That's how people create things. That's how people organize and galvanize. That's how people figure things out. And without that, everybody is just fragmented. So how did you find your community?
Yeah. Just being gay.
Okay, bitch. She said I was out there in the motherfucking streets. I know that's right. All right.
I mean, no,
yes, Miss
I
Lady.
do feel bad for straight people sometimes because it's like when you're gay, you have a built-in community internationally.
It's so true. It's like you just already know, you already get it.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I feel like queer communities like organized. You know, they use kind of abolitionist practices. They're kind of like baked in.
When you're marginalized, it's like we've been here before.
Yeah,
we know what it. We know what it do. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean. I know what time it is. Oh, all right.
It's
we
so
gotta get
precious
out there.
o'clock.
It's so true. Yes. Yeah. It's we laugh to stop from crying. Okay. The world is ending. You can only take 5 people with you. Who are you taking?
Oh,
and
Lord.
A quick little blurb about why. I know,
Oh my
right?
God.
It's so sad. It's just turned into Titanic. You only got a few seats on that boat.
Why are you gonna make me do that? Do you know how much heat I'm gonna catch for this? That's a wild question.
Somebody's gotta drown.
Somebody got God damn.
It's true. It's true. I mean, you can only take so many.
I don't know. Probably my nieces and nephews. Like,
okay, because we need a future. The kids are it.
I have 5 nieces and nephews, actually.
I'm loving that answer.
Although I don't know if I can care for all of them at once. Make some badass kids, but
you know what? They're gonna grow, and they're gonna also grow up in the dystopian world. So they're gonna actually know how to really survive and how to help you.
And also, they know more about the internet than me.
I love that. I agree. Mine would be definitely my nieces and my nephew and my son. And then I only got room for one more person at that point. And at that point, we just going up in the air. I'm going to have to roll the dice on them because I love all of them. But we got to just figure it out. Okay. I hope we go out with no regrets. But if the world were to end today, is there anything that you would regret that you didn't do? You know, is there something that you have to do before the world's over?
I need to direct a film. And
you haven't directed one yet. I think that you would be a great director.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
I need to direct a film. It's been my dream for so long. I made short films, but there's a particular film.
That's what I'm saying. I could have sworn you had made a movie before because I follow you. So I'm like, I feel like I've seen something before, but I know what you mean. What's your vibe? What's your movie? I mean, you maybe don't have the complete answer, but kind of what's the framework of what you like to talk about?
I love movies that are about the interconnectedness of people's lives that are seemingly random, but actually really profound. Like, those are my favorite kind of movies.
Like Crash or something like that?
Yeah. Like Crash. One of my favorite movies is Magnolia. There's this really wild, like surreal anime called Mind Game. That's one of my favorite movies.
And
And
everybody loves anime, and I feel like I missed that boat. I gotta get
really,
on there.
have you ever watched like
Yes.
Hayao Miyazaki movies?
No. Wait. Well, tell me some of them, what they
Like
are.
Spirited
'Cause maybe I.
Away, Ponyo, Howl's Moving
Nope.
Castle. I feel like you could start
Nope.
there. You could start there because
Spirited
they're
Away,
just beautiful
Ponyo.
animated movies, but they're also anime.
Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
yes. One thing I like that people always that tell me about anime, because my sister and my brother love anime, and they always tell me different ones to watch, is that the stories are very deep. They're very deep, very moving. They deal with dark and real life situations, and sometimes they don't end really happy, but it's literally like you're being thrust into a real true story of someone living and overcoming. Almost like just like a really edgy, I don't want to say like superhero movie, but kind of like, has superhero movies sometimes like touch on, my uncle passed or, X, Y, and Z, but like that it really dives in to how that affects that person, the choices that they make, and just like on a real nuanced level. So I think that I get the drive for anime. So that's why I really want to dive in, because I do like to be moved. I mean, I'm sure like you, as an artist, it's like for me sitting down and watching a movie, it really takes me away. Like watching a show, watching a thing, just like I just love it so much. I could sit in my room for hours and watch television and movies and
Yeah.
stuff.
When do you feel like you discovered that passion?
So my family is like that. So I think I don't know. I mean, when I discovered that I wanted to do it, I was about 9 years old because my parents gave me the opportunity to do it. But before then, my family was always very into escaping through the arts. That's how my parents met. Through theater and speech. And when we were younger, they would take us to see like plays and musicals and stuff. And then we would have movie night. Like, so it was like a big thing in my house to be like, we're going to Blockbuster. And my dad would like read the back of the movies to help find us movies as kids to watch. So it was like a thing to like find new movies, where I remember he was like, oh, Steven Spielberg, he would do it by director, or he would do it by actor, or, even sometimes they would do it by producer, or cinematographer. So my parents were also into like the credits, and that would also lead them to understand what kind of work we could be into or they would be into. And so growing up, it was always just like about storytelling, you know what I mean? The stories within the stories and how we could apply them to life. And I mean, some of it probably, I feel the same way, like even growing up in a church like that, those are stories, those are parables, those are things that you could apply to your life. And so I think I learned through that. Like I like on like, not even just like, oh, entertainment, this is a funny movie, but I like to learn about life and like to see, just any different experience that somebody can be in. It teaches me about humanity. I learned through that visual aid. Like I just watched this other show not too long ago on Hulu that, I don't know, maybe it would be kind of the vibe that you're talking about. I don't remember the name, but it was a book. It's a very famous book. And the name of it is something like, Friends That's Living, or something about friends. Like it had like a sentence of a
Did you
title.
say Friends
And it was
That's
about
Living?
That's the one directed by Tyler Perry. Friends That's
Friends
Living.
That's Living.
Friends That's Living. That's the one that Tyler Perry does. Love Tyler down. But yeah, it was like a movie about this girl who's young and in college. She has a best friend. She ends up falling in love with this man and ends up being kind of like a unicorn to him and his wife. So she's kind of like dating them both, but then she kind of feels like it's a secret between her and him. But then she realizes it's not a secret and his wife is cool with it. And so then she kind of feels like she's not into it anymore. And it's like, I love shit like that. Because like, what does that mean? You was cool when you felt like he was cheating on his wife with you. But when you found out that his wife was cool and it's not cheating, now feel into it. And now your homegirl, she knows what's going on, and she just wants you to not be ashamed about it and to own your shit and stop pretending you a victim in it all. Like, it's like, I love that. Like, let's get into the weeds. Let's get into the weeds of human emotion.
That sounds juicy. That's
so,
what my mom always says. She's always like, "Ooh, we should watch this juicy Lifetime movie." I love that word, juicy.
Girl, Lifetime straight up always juicy.
Baby, this is Keke Palmer, yeah.
I wanted to ask you, do you feel like the thing that caught you when you were little and that filled you up with so much passion is the same as the thing that keeps you doing what you do now?
Yeah, I think at the core, man, I love these. I love that you've asked me this. I love that, girl. Yeah, that's why you my girl. I really do fuck with you. Cause I just know that you can get deep. You know what I mean? And it's like still chill. You know how sometimes people get too deep and
I'm
it gets
dead.
draining. You know what I mean? Like
I'm
you get deep and it's
dead.
like,
You're like,
hey,
why
we
you
cooling.
stop drilling, man? Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you.
Um, because I think at the core, what it is, Amandla, is like I really want to know. I think it comes from the place of me really wanting to know why we're here. I know that's so broad,
Mm-hmm.
but that's what drives me as a performer. That's what drives me to do anything in this world. Is there has to be a reason for it. There's something going on, and I want to. So hey, I've got emotions. Let me push them to the brink. Let me have the experience of a lifetime because I only get once, and let me be curious and let me explore within that. Because yeah, like I want to get some answers. I'm only going to get them through experience. What about you?
Yeah, I think I feel very similarly. And I had a feeling that we would, having both been child actors, I was curious if we had similar feelings. I feel like originally it was curiosity about the world. And then as I get older, it's just the question just deepens. You know, it just kind of gets more rich and influenced by
Yep.
my life experiences and the things that I witness and see and question. And it just becomes more expansive and probably less literal. Like when I was a kid, I was more like, what's
Oh my
that?
gosh, yes.
And now I'm kind of like, what's that?
Yes. I know exactly what you mean. It's so much less literal. It becomes way more elusive, like something that you can't catch. And I
Yeah.
don't know what's. Yeah, I don't. I think I love that sometimes, and then sometimes I don't.
Mm.
Sometimes I wish it was more childlike and a little bit more plainer and not
Mm.
so
Yeah.
in the weeds. But
Yeah, sure.
okay, Amandla, this has been a treat. But before we say goodbye, we're going to end with a little game called Questions That Need to Be Answered. And in this segment, I will ask you some burning questions that I know have been on everyone's mind. And you have no choice but to give me an honest answer. Are you ready?
Oh, Lord. Okay.
What was it like going to prom with Jaden Smith?
My cat just ran. It was so random because we were really just homies. And I didn't really know any boys growing up. Like, I didn't have any friends, honestly. He was one of my only
Wow.
male
But that's
friends.
pretty typical. But that's pretty typical of a child actor that's like working. Like you're
Yeah.
like, it's like you're so responsible in business, and it's like who knows
Yeah.
kids.
And I was in and out of school a lot because I would go work, then I'd come back to school and back and forth. And I was just kind of lame. So I didn't have that many male friends. Jaden was one of my only male friends. And I was like, who am I going to take to prom? Mind you, at that particular year, I thought that I needed to take a boy. The next year, I took a girl. But
And that's on period.
that's on purpose. But yeah, it was really if the question is like what went down, absolutely nothing. Thank you,
Which is
Jaden,
pretty
for going with
typical.
me though. That was real sweet that he went with me.
Shout out to Jaden. Shout out to Karate Kid. Okay, did you ever regret taking yourself out of the running for Black Panther?
No. No. You know what I did regret was that particular instance getting so much media coverage. I almost wish that I hadn't.
Explain that a little bit to people that maybe don't know the situation in its entirety.
Okay. Well, what I hope doesn't happen is I say, "Oh, I wish it didn't have so much media coverage," and then that gets more media coverage.
Fuck, exactly.
But
Yeah,
whatever.
that's
I'll
annoying.
chance it. I'll chance it. I just felt like the whole point of me not continuing to audition for that film was that was not a space that I was supposed to take up, right? Like as like a light-skinned person in an industry that's rampant with colorism. And then I just expressed that in the context of a really long ass interview. I think it was like an hour
Yeah.
long or something. And that was kind of the one soundbite people ran with. I think
Took from it.
because people were starting to have this conversation around how rampant colorism is. in Hollywood.
I think it's a good thing, and even bigger. Are you biracial, or you just
I'm
like?
biracial. Mm-hmm.
I think it's also even deeper in that regard too. Like yes, the colorism, but also the the levels of what is black, right? Because we went from being in the early 1900s or whatever in the slavery times, and it's like one drop rule, and
Right.
then we go to the space of colorism where every black face representation is the one that makes people most comfortable with. A lot of times
Right.
is either lighter skinned or is biracial, and
Yeah.
I think now we're getting to the point where people like yourself that are are multiracial, and there are world like you should be able to exist in the world also as that and also have biracial representation, because I have tons of friends, my nieces and my nephew are biracial. He loves the fact that he could watch Spider-Man and Spider-Man represents him as not just black person,
Right.
but as a biracial person. So I think it's also
Yeah.
that too, right? Because like Black Panther, okay, that's a black person's story, a black identifying solely story. There's also like there are deeply amazing, beautiful stories within our culture from any which corner that center multiracial people that I feel like should be way more. They're like, for instance, what is that one? The Imitation of Life. They need to redo that. Do you know that movie?
Yeah. No, I remember that movie. When did
Like,
that come
that
out?
movie
Isn't that like from the 60s?
Old days.
Yeah.
It's about a white passing young black, biracial black girl who is raised to be white, and the relationship she had with her black mother, and kind of denouncing her and going her whole life trying to run from her, from her history and who she is. But I just say that to say that I think there's so much good in what you were saying that also says, hey guys, black is not a monolith. Instead of you guys just doing that one story and forcing everybody even in just that one story, or making it so hard for us to have any story that we got to take each other's stories or represent, all this, let's broaden the storylines and let's actually give everybody nuance in their experience of blackness, I don't know.
Yeah. And like, I mean, that's a really beautiful, positive way of looking at it. And then now I'm going to bring the nihilistic perspective, because that's what I do. I mean, I think growing up I had a sense of, but I was not fully cognizant of Hollywood as a white institution. I think it took me I was aware in terms of the direct experiences I had, being a little brown girl and only getting particular kinds of role submissions, or experiencing racism in different ways or whatever. But I think it wasn't until I was older and I could really understand things infrastructurally that I got, oh right, Hollywood is a white institution, and that means that representations within Hollywood are going to be extensions of white supremacy. Not always, but that's the way it's going to, inherently.
But that's the world.
Lean. And not just in Hollywood, but in music, in entertainment, and in media, we do put biracial and light-skinned people on a platform and expect that to monolithically represent all black people. But it's another way of, like you said, making white people feel comfortable. And I think a lot of those studio execs and those people that are in charge, they do that without even realizing what they're doing, because they actually can't quite distinguish different shades of black people.
And it's a way to crush down the story. That is a way to crush down the black experience. The black experience ain't just one thing.
Make it more
so in you
digestible, quote
conflating,
unquote, digestible. Yeah.
Exactly. So in you conflating the black experience, you also are whitewashing it effectively. Because you're conflating it to one thing, and then you're putting the face that's most comfortable in you, when actually let's just actually have diversity within the black experience and show all the faces. And it's just hey, I think that's going to take more people like yourself, and even not just with race, but like sexual identity, just like all the different communities, Miss Lady. Like, it's gonna take more people, hey, from our generation or from the generations after us that are not in that old ways of thinking, becoming people that are creating the work that we're seeing that reflect the world today, that allow us to actually like be not just kind of like on these same superficial binary ways of like existing, you know,
Yeah.
or expressing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I do think that as light-skinned people, not me talking like I'm a part of the light-skinned
Another also,
I'm like,
I also
on behalf
identify
of the
as light
light-skinned
skinned
community.
people.
Said-
I am the spokesman for the light skins. I am for the dark skins. So we, as the dark skins and the light skins, what we saying?
I'm dead. I said on behalf of the light skin community. But anyways, on behalf of the light skin community, it is our responsibility when it comes to, you know, visibility to know what spaces are appropriate to take up or not, and that's a lesson that I've learned. And I feel like with Black Panther, that was a situation where, you know, it just didn't make any sense. What was unfortunate was that tell me that makes sense. Make that make sense. Make it make sense.
Yeah.
Come on.
Now I need to ask: is your mom Black or is your dad Black?
My mom.
Your mom is Black, and so when you talk to your mom about that, what did she say? She was like, "Girl, quit." Or she was like, "Baby, I'm proud of you." Like, what was her response? I'm so curious.
You know, I think at first she was actually she didn't fully understand why I made that decision.
She said, "Baby, you deserve everything."
She said,
know
"Do
that's
you,
right.
girl?" I was like, wait. Hold up.
I love it too much.
No, then I think we did have deeper conversations about it. And I think she said something about, you know, the diversity of people within Africa. And then also, you know, it being a fictionalized universe. But then
I mean, that's also valid too.
it's valid. Yeah, it's valid. But it just didn't seem like that was the moment, man. I don't know. That
Yes.
was right. And I've received a lot of people being very upset for me being in The Hate You Give. Because of the cover. Yeah. And that was, I think, you know, like when it comes to
I mean, you
choosing
can't
roles,
wear all that shit on your. You also can't wear all that shit on your back now. You know what I'm saying? What feels right to you feels right for you. But it's like, nigga, I'm light skinned. Sorry. You know, it is what it is too. I'm with your mama too. I'm with
Oh,
I'm with
Lord.
you. I'm with you. Sometimes it's, you know, sometimes it's like, yo, maybe this ain't it. You know what I mean?
You know, I think you know this as an actor, the process of attaching to a film or being cast in a film is very kind of elusive, and you don't know exactly what it's
Oh,
going to
yes.
be or what it's going to turn into, and you're kind of taking a chance that you're making the right choice, and you're trying to follow your heart and your intuition and feel what's right. And so I think in simple terms, like Black Panther, that was a situation where I was like, this is not right. My intuition tells me this is not correct, and this is not the space I should
And that's
be in.
right.
And with The Hate You Give, that was a much more complicated process because I had attached onto that project because the author of the book wanted me to be a part of it. And that was before the book had a book cover. And so we felt like we were formulating this character in this universe together. You know, that book was so incendiary and so powerful that it got optioned for a movie before it had even been released. And so we were up working on that, you know, way before it came out. But that was a thing that a lot of people didn't know. So that when the book came out and it had this you know, this artist's work on the cover that had interpreted the character with very dark skin, then it did not look
Yeah.
right. And I understand why
Right.
people had that response.
Yeah, but you could also look at it from the perspective of, yes, okay, there's that. But then there's also what we were talking about 5 seconds ago, which is I'm sure you have your own experiences. Just because you light skinned don't mean you don't experience racism or any type of you know, uncomfortabilities with being Black in America. I mean, that's just remiss to think that all your problems go away. You still Black. So even still, maybe the point with there is that Black is not a monolith. So whether
Yeah.
you're dark, whether you're light, whether you whatever that you are, you still gonna experience. And so hopefully, I think most of the people that I know love you down because of that movie. You know, it's easy for us to like be like, oh yeah, and this is the thing, and then people said that, you know, but the reality of it is like that movie really has cemented you so much in a generation as somebody that is that cares about what they're representing and the kind of work that they do and how it's moving people forward. So,
That's so sweet.
yeah, I think you did your thing with that for sure. So like I said, I'm half with you. I be half with your mama. Your mama, she sound cool. I like your mama till I said what's up. And thank you so much for coming on my podcast. You are amazing.
Oh my God. I can't even tell you how honored I am to be here. You are a legend. You are an icon. You are the moment. There's not any better words to use.
my God.
You are a ray of light on this planet in perpetuity. And I'm so, so grateful to even just have a conversation with you.
Thank you so much. I can't wait till we do one off camera.
Yeah.
Holla at your
Yeah.
girl.
On the commune, where we're going to be prepping for the end of the world.
Exactly. Because I'm coming to your house. I'm one of the 5. I feel like I gotta get to work after this conversation, okay? I have foods to stockpile and underground compounds to build. Just a regular afternoon. But of course, I would never leave you for too long, listeners. I'll still see you here next week because, as always, it's your girl.
Baby, this is Keke. Baby, this is Keke Palmer.